mastery of moderation. We now move on to another presentation related to plastics and the circular economy. And we're fortunate to have with us today Ignacio Marco from Spain, who has a very high experience of this in industry and around the world, and involved in a lot of industrial situations. And so we look forward to his presentation on plastics and circular economy. Ignacio.
You're muted.
Hello?
Hello, yes, we can hear you.
Hello, hello.
Sorry, because it seems that it was not working well with the earphones. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see now the presentation?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So again, good morning, and thank you to Geoffrey for introducing me, and of course to CircularSeas for inviting me to this event, very interesting event, and very interesting discussions. I would like to clarify before I start my presentation that although I have been working in the last 4 years for Plastics Europe, I left Plastics Europe in the month of July, last July. So this presentation is my own opinion. It's not, of course, Plastics Europe presentation. Okay, so just to make clear that you understand. My presentation is going to be around the circular economy, which I believe is key to end with plastic waste. That I'm not going to explain you what is that, because you have been the whole morning discussing about the huge problem we have in front of us, no? And of course, we also always talk about plastic waste. We also talk about climate change. Of course, there is certain parallelism between both, because most of the problem in both cases, or most of the products in both cases, are coming from oil. Most of plastic today is coming from oil, and most of the emissions are also coming from oil. So there are some similarities. Of course, there are also differences, and there are two big problems, different problems, but maybe with a similar origin from the beginning. Of course, in the case of emissions, on the CO2 emissions, although this will be very difficult and there's a very remote possibility, but there are already some technologies trying to capture CO2. So it seems there might be some technical solution that could palliate or even remedy the problem of CO2 emissions. In the case of the problem of plastic waste, unfortunately, one of the biggest problems for this specific waste is the duration of the plastic. So this is a very long duration, and of course, most of what we see in the environment is what we call single-use plastic, mostly from packaging, and therefore we have probably to think on other solutions and how to solve this. Plastic waste can be reduced with even with existing current technologies. We have, for example, by redesigning the products, by reducing the amount of materials on packaging, by expanding reusing and refillables, or even by increasing recycling. But for example, in the case of recycling, to give you an idea, we would need to have a massive scale up of the recycling facilities in the world, because the amount of plastic in the environment is so huge that we will need to invest in many, many recycling plants. Okay. I wanted to talk slightly about COVID-19, because I think these days COVID-19 is everywhere in the world, so it's a very well-known topic, and this has produced many changes on us. By the way, I hope you and your families are all in good health and supporting this situation. But of course, unfortunately, the COVID has also brought more plastic into the oceans, as you know. So it has made even more dramatic the problem, because we start to see a lot of masks, gloves, and materials coming from COVID-19 treatments, which are thrown by certain people into the environment. Okay, but on the other hand, there's also a positive. I think that COVID, if something positive can bring or have brought to us, is that I think we are more prepared to watch and to see the environment signs regarding the climate change, and of course regarding the waste of plastics or plastics pollution. So I think maybe this can be a turning point for the world to understand that we have to start to work more seriously the problems in advance and not to wait until the tide has already covered us. Okay, and in fact, if we don't do that soon, if we don't work much more stronger and much more innovative, we can reach the point of no return. So in a way, I think this is so serious that we have, in a way, to shift our minds. Naila, I'm sure many of you have read the book Homo Sapiens from Noah Harari, and I think we have to go to the Homo Circularis. So we have to put all our actions thinking on the circular economy to really address this big issue we have today. Entering into the size of the plastics industry, this is, I'm pretty sure you have seen this figure because it has been published by Plastics Europe. In 2018, the world produced 359 million tons of plastic, and this is why is this. This is because plastics are very affordable, are versatile. By the way, there are many types of plastics, so when we talk about plastic, we have to keep in mind, and that leads to the discussion we had on recycling before, that there are so many different types of plastics, like there are many types of metals, that there is not one single solution for all. So that's very important. And thinking just in last year, in 2019, every single day of the year, 1 million tons of plastic was produced in the world. So this is to give you an idea of the magnitude of the production. Of course, only a part, not all ends in the environment. It's a part, and it's mostly related to the single-use packaging. But I have to give you the situation that this is an industry which, due to the benefits we have discussed on that, of course it brings many benefits to all of us, and we are talking probably thanks today to plastics, but due to that, the growth has been so big, even much bigger than the GDP every year, and so this means that by the year 2050, probably we will have a double of amount of plastic produced in the world, because of course with the growth of the population, with the growth of the middle class, there's more consumption of this material, which again is very useful, but that we need to really address the situation today. And this is not only an environmental or a health problem, it's also an economical problem, because just think that this plastic coming from the packaging which is abandoned in the environment, it's only used for a very short period of time, and this means that a lot of money goes into the environment or wherever it goes without being really used. And we are talking of a figure of about 100 billion euros of every year of material or money which goes away because of the short use. Okay, so we need to redesign the products. We need to change business models. We need to change production processes. The industries also have to participate in extending the life cycles of the products. And of course, at the end of the day, we have to make much more using much less. And how much of this, we know how much is produced, but how much it goes into the environment. And again, this is very important, the behavior of the people, because most of it goes either because it's thrown directly by the people, or either because it goes into the landfill and then it ends up also in the environment. Well, here, this is a slide from Jenna Jambek. I'm pretty sure many of you have seen it and know very well. And this is 2015, so it's already 5 years ago. And she was saying, she calculated that more than 8 million tons were every year sent into the oceans. Okay, this figure was so astonishing, I think, to the world when we saw it, that this helped to revitalize the movement on plastic trash. Okay, so I think that this was a way of really shocking us because of the amount of plastic that goes every year. And this is, just to give you an example, this is basically 1 truck of plastic in the ocean every minute, every day of the year. But this is what happened in 2015. And now, of course, we don't know how much is in the ocean. And we don't know how much it's going to be thrown in the next few years. But what we see is that with the current situation, in 2040, this number will be triple. So we will go to above 25 million metric tons into the oceans. Okay, so really we need to do much more than we are doing today. And of course, a circular plastic system could create more jobs, will reduce the impacts, and of course, will create a lot of economical opportunities also for all of us. So I think this is important to take into account. Again, this figure, I'm pretty sure many of you have seen it. 5 islands which are already. Oh no, it seems one of them is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is also known as Vortex, which is twice the size of Texas. So to give you an idea of the amount of the problem already, which is in the oceans. And this is what we have to solve, but also we have to stop sending more plastic into the oceans. And for that, I think that after these statistics again, this demonstrates that we have not done, or we are not doing enough things to really solve this issue. Again, we don't know how much plastic is there, but we know that it lasts long, that it is accumulated in the seas, and certain studies say that if we continue like that in the year 2040, it could be around 600 million metric tons of plastic into the oceans. So really, we need to do much more than we are doing now. And again, I think this has been already seen. Some of these images have already been seen today. There are a lot of numbers, like that if we put all the bottles one stack up one on the other, it will pass the moon, or like the Ellen MacArthur number, which says that by the year 2050, and we are on that way, there will be more plastic than fish in the oceans. So this is really a situation. It was shown also the 10 mittens collected in the beaches or in the coastlines, which the majority of them are coming from our plastic. And again, it doesn't mean that the plastic were not useful, but for the application which were intended. But it is clear that we have not been able to really control the end of these plastics into the oceans, and we have to do more. Okay. So, and just to put, coming now to the circular economy, the circular economy, and I have used here the Ellen MacArthur, which again I'm pretty sure many of you know very well, but I have used the Ellen MacArthur model of circular economy. There are other models, but most of them are similar. You know, the basics of the circular economy is to, of course, to use the minimum of resources and to keep it in the circular economy cycle as much as possible. The Ellen MacArthur has 3 principles: the regenerate the natural systems, design out waste and pollution, which is very important also, and of course, keep the products and materials in the circle for as much as possible. And they have 2 circles. One is more looking at the biological cycles. This is because at the end of the day, this is talking about composting, about biological based materials, and those materials also come back to, for example, regenerate living systems. And on the other side, on the right side, you see more the broad type of cycle, where components and materials, through reusing, through repairing, through remanufacturing, or even, of course, recycling, they stay much longer in the circle, and also with the help of digital technology, there is certain support for transition to more towards more the circular economy. Okay. And this is probably the most important slide, because again, we are doing many things, but we have to do much more. And here innovation will play a very important role. Here, in the case of the plastics, we are talking of two types of innovations, what we call upstream innovation, about rethinking, rethinking the products and services, and a downstream innovation. Of course, if we go to our apartment and we discover that it is full of water, we do not start to remove the water. First of all, we try to close the tap or to close the origin of that problem. No? Here we have to do the same. And again, we have to do this innovation in all the life of the cycle of the product, from the beginning, from the material selection, whether we were discussing before, some people was asking about origin bio or not origin bio, less material, of course, the design of the packaging, the business models. We have to stop buying cars or washing machines and using more renting type of models. And of course, when you have produced the product, when you have used it and reuse it, which is something we have to do much more today, then we have, of course, also at the end of life of that product, and then we have to collect it, to sort it, and to recycle in the best way to put it back into the circle. So this is, I think, the very important area where we have to make a lot of effort to really, in each of these parts, create new innovations to really get this circular economy really working, because today it's not working. And I have put here some examples, and these are examples of downstream innovation. One is a company, I'm pretty sure many of you know, is a company called EcoAlf. EcoAlf is a Spanish company, but they are producing in Spain, but also they are bringing plastic from the oceans from Thailand and some East Asia countries. And I think these are very good initiatives. These are, what they are doing is what they call upcycling the ocean. So they remove, with the collaboration of fishermen, and the plastic from the oceans, and they make clothes, which, by the way, are very, I'd say, luxury clothes, at least in Spain, with a high price. For example, today they don't have a Black Friday, like today is a Black Friday, but they don't do that because they have this responsible consumption. But if you look at the number here, the 600 tons that they have removed or collected since 2015, and this is a big company, I have to say, it's very well known in Spain. I don't know in Portugal, but it's very well known. If you can imagine these 600 tons since the year 2015, so basically in 5 years, or let's say they are removing maybe every year a bit more, 100, 150 tons, compare that to the 8 million tons that goes into the ocean every year. So imagine the amount of EcoAlfs, C2C, which are making glasses, or even your project in Peniche, which of course these projects are required, these projects are very important, and they are very linked to the communities around. But the size of the problem is so big that we really need to do much more and to cut the amount of plastic which goes into the oceans much more dramatically. So if we go to the next one, and here is again, I'm pretty sure you all know the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. This is a global alliance because at the end of the day, we are talking of a global problem. And of course, we will have to put and to implement local solutions. And there are different type of solutions, and there are different type of conditions in each place. So we have to adapt the solutions to our place. But at the end, the problem is a very global problem, and we need to really solve it in the world. If we do our effort, a big effort in Europe, and we only solve it in Europe, you know that Europe represents less than 1% of all the plastic polluting the seas. So we really need to work on a global scale with, of course, local implementations. And for this, for example, this Alliance to End Plastic Waste, what they are doing, and they are much more focusing in the countries which are polluting more, basically more in Asia. What we're then trying to do is to put solutions into these countries as catalysis to really replicate those solutions much more in the countries by other people. And for that, what they need, of course, is to create some value and really show that the plastic at the end of the life is not waste, it's another resource that you have to use. So we need to do much more here. So just ending my presentation, I have written here a few key takeaways for you. And of course, I am open to discuss. And the first one is, I think you all know, again, 80% of the plastic which goes into the oceans, of these 8 million that go every year, it's coming from land. So if we close in land, you know, many of that is coming from rivers. If we are able to put systems in place to avoid that the plastic go into the ocean, we are removing 80% of the problem. So for me, this is really a first priority. The second point is on circular economy. Of course, the circular economy is required, and I think is the only way to really reduce the plastic pollution, because we need to use less resources, to use less products. We need to, of course, make the design of the products in a different way. We need to promote reuse. And of course, once you have reused so many times, there is a recycling and recovery of those products that you have to, again, send back to the economic cycle. And for that, the upstream and downstream innovation that I just mentioned are key to really give an impulse and accelerate the circular economy. And finally, I think this is something which is very important. And again, these TV shows like the one Katerina was showing us, and many communication, we need to really shift the mindset of the people, and we need to understand that we cannot continue as we are doing now if we want that this planet stays in a few years for our sons and the sons of our sons, because today we have to think, as I have put here, the Homo circularis, because we really need to think in a different way to really solve this issue. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for a most interesting presentation. Thank you for spending the time with us and giving us these ideas. The next presentation comes from Susana Lopez, who's from LIPOR, which is a intermunicipal waste management service of Greater Porto. And Susana graduated in environmental engineering from University of Aveiro, and then had a master's course in environmental engineering, and now is a senior technician in the international business unit. And so this is somebody who actually handles, not necessarily personally, the waste, but is used to some of the problems that we were talking about earlier on. So, Susana.
Hello. Hello, everyone. First, I take this opportunity to thank the invitation, and now I will share my screen. And our challenge as a public waste management system is to share to share what tools citizens have for a more sustainable management of plastic waste. As I saw here in the chat, there is a lot of sometimes myths Sometimes I think we think people need to have more knowledge in terms of what options we have to have a more sustainable waste management, because we are all part on the solution. Okay, so I will try to briefly present something about circularity of resources and the importance of separate collection. As I saw also in the chat, obviously recycling is not the solution. First, we need to prevent, we need to reuse, and then at the end, if we cannot reduce or reuse, then we have recycling. So recycling should be seen in a circular economy as we see now the landfill. Sorry for my comparison, but it should be like that. So first preventing, reuse, and then we will find a solution in terms of secondary raw materials using recycling. So it's the first. So I will, sorry, I need to go back because I need to put the sound. So if I try to do again, I will try to share again. Whoops. To put the sound, how I can do, sorry, I don't know. To use the, okay, I will do again. Yeah, it's working now. I don't know if you are listening.
No problem.
Susanna, please activate the sound in the video. Yeah.
Ah, yes.
There,
Sorry. Go back.
And then
admitia que tinha um problema grave. Negava-o constantemente. Não só aos outros, como a mim mesma. Acho que tudo mudou quando decidi fazer uma pesquisa na internet. E o que lhe preocupou-me muito. Percebi que isto se ia agravar com o tempo. Que quanto mais demorasse a tratar, piores seriam as consequências. Mas o que mais me assustou foi saber que isto pode afetar os meus filhos. Ao ponto deles perderem qualidade de vida. Eu não reciclava o plástico. Deitava tudo no lixo. Mas estou a mudar.
So it was, I think we all recognize someone that have the same behavior. So I think we need to think in terms of what we need to do as a consumer, as a waste producer. So now I will share my screen again. And let me know if you are now seeing the presentation. Yes. Okay. So who we are. So LIPOR is a waste management system with 8 municipalities. LIPOR is now 38 years old, so we can say a fairly long experience on waste management. About 1 million inhabitants, means 10% of Portuguese population, and a lot of waste to treat, more than 515,000 tons per year. So prevention is really, really important. That means per capita around 540 kilograms per person. So it's a huge amount of municipal solid waste that we need to treat. Obviously, we have also a huge amount of tourists, not this year, this strange here, but it's something that we need to have in mind. So a small area. So this is a brief presentation about LIPOR. So from waste to resource. Why? Priority actions for improving high quality recycling and achieving a circular economy. So we need to scale up separate collection. We need the best available technologies in order to answer to the new materials, to improve yields of sorting, so and to also to have higher standards in terms of recycling. Always very, very important, rising awareness in terms of environment literacy. And we know, we feel that we need to communicate in a easier way, and we need to understand that the citizens understand what we ask to do, what are the impacts in terms of our action as consumers. And very important, research and innovation, by namely developed and innovative sorting procedures, because we have, as I listening here, new products like the bio-based products. So we need to have these our sites, obviously with the best available technologies to answer to these new materials, new standards in terms of sorting specifications. And very important, we also need to work in terms of litter prevention and cleanliness. So some trends and challenge. Why? So we have the EU Green Deal with the aim to put in place a circular economy transition and to achieving a climate neutrality. But for that we have the Waste Framework Directive with a strong focus on prevention and very ambitious reuse and recycling targets. And also with a ban on landfill. It's important to say that Portugal needs to do a strong effort in order to first stop the production of municipal solid waste. We are producing more and more, and we need to increase our sorting and our separate collection for municipal solid waste, because for this year, by the end of 2020, we need to achieve 50% for preparation for reuse and recycling, and we are around 40%. So it will be quite difficult to achieve the target, and 25, it will be more ambitious, 2030, again, so there is a lot to do in this specific area. Also important in terms of Waste Framework Directive, extended producer responsibility, scale up separate collection, and also, as we have the importance we have the EU Single-Use Plastics Directive, focus again on prevention, separate collection, and prohibition on the placing on the market of certain types of products. And we have consumer trends and behaviors. So in terms of this, we are more and more, I think I can say, on-go society, with using more single-use products, more e-commerce, and it's an easy way to buy, but means more and more packaging, more and more plastic waste. So as a consumer, we are a key point in terms of how to solve this plastic planet that we are creating. So we need to think that again, our behaviors as a consumer have impact in terms of environment. What we can do? Okay, or what we already have to participate. Our experience. So we have several options to participate. We have green points, we have door-to-door collection, we have civic amenity sites, and so several options to be sustainable and a more sustainable, to put in place a more sustainable management, waste management. It's important to say that about 30% of our municipal solid waste are dry recyclables, means plastic, paper and card, metal, glass, and about 12% are plastics. So we need to divert plastics from landfill, from mixed waste, from energy recovery. For that, we need to strongly increase separate collection. And we have, at least in our Greater Porto area, we have several ways to do it. So this is a loyalty card that we have in order to push the citizens to use more and more our 19 civic amenity sites. Another important part, the public events. Public events, so like festivities, football stadiums, again, not this here, but there are places where we produce lots of single-use plastics. So we have a specific project where we try to promote separate collection and recycling at events, enable citizens to have adequate equipments for more sustainable waste management. So at the same time, we promote specific awareness raising and communication campaign for all actors, like the organization, the vendors, the visitors, but also the collection team, very, very important, the media. And at the end, we have this project as also a social responsibility. Why? Because with the extended producer responsibility as we have in place in Portugal, in fact, we have 3 entities to manage our packaging waste. So concerning the total amount of material that we collect separately and send to recycling, we give a donation to social partners. And this is very important because like that, the visitor that goes to these public events knows that when they are participating in the separate collection, at the same time, they are helping, they are supporting social causes. And like that, we can have this link between a citizen and a social responsibility. That's really, really effective. So do not forget, we are all and our waste is the missing piece that we need to close the cycle. So about marine litter, we start some years ago, 3 years ago in fact, our work in terms of litter prevention and specific marine litter. And so some priority actions, awareness with different kind of events like blogging, like movie sessions, like reduced plastic use sessions. So we have several in our strategy in terms of awareness, several events. Very important, the ocean literacy. We have the SOS Oceans, how to reduce and why we need to reduce marine litter. Very interesting that we call plasticology sessions. We explained what we can identify several types of plastics, and always important, so to improve marine litter literacy in terms of all the population. So we have road shows, a specific handbook with good practice. So these are several ways to participate and to improve the literacy, the ocean literacy that's quite irrelevant in our days. So here the examples, so the plasticology. So we try to collect on the beach several wastes. Unfortunately, it's easy to collect, and then with the children, the students, we try to explain what they can do. At the same time, we are partnered at Blue School project, a very interesting project. And just to say, in 2019, more than 100 initiatives were promoted by Liport, talking about marine litter in the schools. So very, very relevant initiative. Another project that we took part, it was Fishing by a Sea Without Waste. So we provided awareness campaign for the fishing community in Póvoa de Varzim fishing port, and at the same time with the other promoters, we gave containers and bins for waste recovery, and Lipor helped Póvoa de Varzim to find some solutions for this type of waste. It's important to say that there is a lack in terms of hand solutions for a certain type of fishing gears, namely cables, fishing nets. There are several types of fishing nets, and yes, we can find recycling options if they are more or less clean, and that is not the case. So the problem is not that there is a solution, is the way we found the waste, and usually the waste is not clean, it's dirty because it was used before. So it's something that industry and also the scale is important to think that when we start this kind of projects, sometimes they are economically unsustainable. Why? Because we have small amounts of this waste. We need to do collection. We need to provide transportation. And when we try to close this loop, there is lots of disadvantage in terms of the price, the cost. So it's important that all actors are at the same level and have the same goal. That means we need to reduce the marine litter, this problem. So yes, we are on the market. We understand that for industry, for who provides the collection, but it's important to say when we start this project, we need to find solutions and to see if we can find the solutions. So be aware in terms of the cost, because if we have high costs, means that will not solve the problem. So it's also something that we see, and we need to find a way to solve these problems. Another problem that we have is the box for fish conservation. Yes, there are solutions, but when we start again with how to collect, who collects, where is the industry that is able to provide the recycling, again, the costs are always a key question, and we stop there, and it's not a way to evolve. Another, this is a more recent project, is a EE grant project that called A Rio e Mar, a lixo a transformar, because mainly of the marine litter starts on land, starts and then with our rivers. So there is a river and sea, there is ways to be transformed. Intention is to develop a set of initiatives and tools to improve, to promote ocean literacy among the citizens and the sea protection and preservation. How, why and how? By adopting best environment management practices in this matter, and very important, if we strengthen education and awareness among the population, we think this means with more literacy, ocean literacy, if we are aware of our impacts, aware in terms of what we need to do to have a sustainable waste management, we can see they are key factors for success in pursuing a new course. Some tasks: awareness, again literacy, very important, sensitize, awareness the community to protect, to prevent and combat marine litter. For instance, the small packaging are usually thrown away. We forget that we can send, we need to separate this small packaging format and put in the bin, and in the that we call the yellow bin, the bin for a packaging, because is a package, is a small package, yes, but is a package. So there are some behaviors that we are not aware in terms of impact, and we need to change and to give this, provide this awareness to the community. And very important, not only have the projects in place, is important to measure to measure the impact. What are the impacts in terms of our initiatives? Should we maintain? Should we change anything in terms of our initiatives? So we need to assess the impact of our initiatives and do this kind of evaluation and communicate. So give feedback is always very important. And sometimes we just are too focused on the type of projects and we forget to give feedback to population to say, yes, we achieve our goals with you, so we are moving to a more sustainable society. So this is our project description in terms of goals that we want to achieve by the end of the project. So it's March of 22. So a lot of some awareness sessions, some movie sessions, the kind of material that we want to collect in terms of blogging. So different types of actions to improve literacy. So it's obviously a small project, but we want then to replicate with our 8 municipalities, because all Greater Porto, this Greater Porto area has a strong, huge potential to replicate this kind of activities. Also important, innovation, and this just to finish. So we speak in terms of separate collection, sorting. Yes, we have an extended producer entity, 3 extended producers entities in charge to our packaging waste, mainly plastic waste, but we need also to improve innovation. So we are now preparing a new sorting center for packaging waste with this capacity, 15,000 up to 30,000 tons a year, in order to improve our capacity to sort packaging waste. And also because it's now a problem is what kind of solutions we have, not for packaging, not for PET, not for polyethylene packaging, but for rigid and bulky plastic. So this is a mixed, very difficult to sort materials like PE, like PP, like PVC, like acrylics, and we receive all together. So we are now preparing a sorting line to do this separation, but we need to find mostly in Portugal, industry that can receive all these type of plastics, because like that we can go up to 5,000 tons per year of this material, and we can improve. We can, with our civic amenity sites, if we find solutions for this type of materials, a stable market, we can improve this separate collection and sorting. Very important again, we need to improve innovation and eco-design, namely for the small format packaging, multi-material packaging that we use, for instance, for food products. And like that, we do sort, but at the end we have this mixed plastic that we have. One of the industry is Extroplast here in Portugal that can receive, but it's a small market. So we need to improve, to have several options for all these materials. And also the uncommon plastic packaging that we still have in the market. So we need to rethink our plastic economy in order to achieve we need to rethink our linear plastic economy in order to achieve a circular plastic economy. And just to conclude, first prevention, then reuse. Then we know that for plastics, if we can provide a well management for post-consumer plastics, obviously they are not a huge problem as they are now. So thank you. And if you have any kind of questions, so I will have all the pleasures to try to answer. Thank you. So just to finish, I forget this one because it's very, very important. Lessons learned: be innovative, be simple, involve all the time cooperation, namely with academia, with industry. communicate, not only educate, is important, communicate, also important, tell stories, the myths that we all have myths, so we need to deconstruct them and think out the box, so be innovative again. And very important, if we want to achieve a circular society, we need to set high standards, namely in terms of recycling, sorting and recycling. So for not to have this image in the future, we need to understand the problem, take an attitude, and I think we have already several options to be a wise and sustainable consumer, and obviously collaborate. And if you want to know more about Lipor, we can go in our website and see our integrated report. So now it's finished. I will finish to share my screen and okay.
Right. Thank you, Susanna, for an excellent presentation and for informing us of the different initiatives that your organization is taking. It was very useful to have a presentation from somebody who's at the sharp end of dealing with the waste. So thank you very much. We now move on to the last session of the workshop, which is another roundtable session, which is discussions and sharing ideas. And we're fortunate to have Amara Rish, who is the president of APIP, which is the Portuguese Plastics Industry Association, to moderate this session. So,
hello everyone.
All right.
So thanks for the invitation. I want to greet Mr. Professor Geoffrey Mitchell and all the people present here in this debate. Also CDRSP for this project is very important for in the perspective of the education and also in the perspective of the industry. So to moderate this final round, I know that the hour is longer, so I go to be quick and directly. Let me only say something about what we see today in this agenda. I think, in opinion of the industry, that everybody must be connected. Industry, universities, researchers, companies, everyone. We spend for many years talking about this issue of the problem of the plastic, the problem of marine litter, and what we see is that the years passing and the problem still happens. So we need to change a little bit the focus of the question and maybe stop to say that the plastic is bad and try to go to the center of the cause. I think we all know that we need to live with the plastic. We need to live with better plastic, and to have better plastic, all of us need to do the best of each part to get them. So I have to say that the presentation of Inácio Marco, it's like a presentation that everybody needs to read, because we know that the problem of marine litter, it's a problem, and we need to help to stop this kind of problem. And we know that maybe not in Europe, because in Europe we have more advanced systems in the sorting and the collecting and recycling of the plastic residue. but many countries in the world have no bins, have no collection systems, and all the garbage goes to the rivers, and after the rivers they go to the sea. So I think that all of our efforts in our countries must be also focused to help, in this case with the European Union, to help poor countries and other kind of countries that still have not good approach of this problem. To moderate this, the last part of the day, I want to ask if anyone have some questions to do to the last two or other other colleagues that make the presentations. Any questions?
I have a comment, if I may, which is a sort of question, a sort of challenge. I think one of the things that is common to many of the presentations is that we need to think about the whole picture.
Yes, sir.
So we might say, let's, for example, think, let's reduce the use of something, but we have to have a way of evaluating the overall impact of that reduce, not just on the whales and the dolphins, but also on all of us. And so, for example, we have in the COVID system, the governments around the world are just facing the challenge of what to do with the resources that comes from having a certain number of vaccine doses. Who to give them to? And so you have to think of the impact on the whole population. And in the field of Industry 4, which is very much concerned with digitization and digitalization, there is the concept of having digital twins, which is a process in which the physics and chemistry and biology of a product, for example, is transformed into a mathematical model that sits in a digital environment, and then this can be used to explore how the impact would be on the population and on industry and on the environment and such things. And I think this is and so this digital twin could last the lifetime of the product and beyond, and could provide a practical way of introducing some more quantitative information and opinion as to what is the right step to make. So, for example, we heard from earlier that from the surveys of beaches, the most common waste product on the beach is a cigarette end. Okay, we can solve that problem straight away. We can eliminate cigarettes. But then maybe the happiness and the quality of life of a certain proportion of people will drop, and also has a big impact upon the tobacco industry. And so it's balancing out these decisions. We need to have some quantitative tools to inform on these opinions. I mean, it very often comes up when people want to have paper bags rather than plastic bags, and people do a life cycle analysis and show that the plastic bag has a smaller carbon footprint than the paper bag. But there has to be an acceptance of a methodology to evaluate the impact upon any change in the process, and then it would be possible to maybe command resources and command government legislation which would achieve the end that is developed from this quantitative evaluation.
Okay, Jeffrey, I got to speak a little bit in Portuguese because it's easy for me, and
yes,
realize great discussion. Eu quero também deixar aqui a ideia de que a indústria do plástico, nós não somos nenhum bichos papões que queremos a todo custo produzir. Hoje em dia, as indústrias, para serem sustentáveis, têm que pôr num dos primeiros lugares a sua relação com o ambiente. E a sua relação com o ambiente parte desde o seu início, como foi falado aqui, na criação de produtos que sejam feitos para serem reutilizados e no seu fim de vida possam ser devidamente reciclados. O design para a reciclagem, o melhoramento das tecnologias de reciclagem e a ajuda no estudo de novas matérias-primas vai fazer com que a indústria nos próximos anos tenha uma responsabilidade acrescida em todo este tema. Mas também é preciso dizer uma coisa, nós não podemos culpar o plástico sozinho da poluição, porque é a mesma coisa que estarmos a culpar as árvores dos fogos. Ninguém culpa as árvores dos fogos, não existem fogos porque existem árvores. E do mesmo modo também não existe a poluição do plástico, não é só porque existe plástico. Hoje em dia o foco no fim de vida dos produtos tem que ser feito como está a ser feito, com a parte da educação das nossas crianças, hoje em dia também da nossa sociedade que está mais desperta a estas situações, porque acautelar o fim de vida dos produtos é hoje muito importante. E quando no início desta sessão a jornalista que esteve aqui presente falou da ideia de termos um tubo a deitar lixo e nós passamos o dia a limpar, isto é mesmo assim. Se nós não formos à raiz da questão, podemos andar a limpar em Portugal, a limpar na Europa, a limpar não seja onde for, e o problema vai sempre existir. Nós passamos anos e anos a falar de poluição, do clima, das alterações climáticas, tudo isto, e as coisas melhoraram? Não, as coisas não melhoraram. Por isso alguma coisa está errada. E eu acho que a situação que está errada hoje em dia, é integrar a indústria nesta discussão. Porque se a indústria são as atividades que geram, neste caso o plástico, as embalagens, produtos que hoje em dia as pessoas descartam porque muitas vezes têm uma ideia errada do valor e por serem um produto eficaz, económico e barato as pessoas descartam sem muitas vezes terem alguma responsabilidade. É importante toda esta cadeia de valor seja cimentada com o apoio da indústria e eu não me queria repetir porque a indústria não quer nem mais nem menos plástico, mas sim melhor plástico. E eu deixava esta abordagem no ar, do meio académico com todos os nossos investigadores, juntos podermos criar produtos mais sustentáveis, porque todos nós sabemos que o consumo de plástico vai existir, vai continuar, vai aumentar. Nós vimos este ano com a pandemia o contributo que o plástico teve também na proteção individual das pessoas, nas vidas que salvou. Arrisco-me a dizer que o plástico salva mais vidas do que aquelas que mata. Isto pode ser mal interpretado por alguém, mas é importante nós sabermos acarinhar um produto, um material, uma invenção do nosso século, para que de uma vez por todas nós vamos à raiz da situação e começarmos a tratar este assunto não de uma maneira sensacionalista, não de uma maneira perigosa de trocar o plástico por qualquer coisa pensando que é melhor, e muitas vezes caímos no erro de como aconteceu com a história dos copinhos de plástico para os copinhos de papel com plástico por dentro, que são produtos que eram recicláveis e passaram a deixar de ser recicláveis. E toda esta situação baseada nas análises de ciclo-vida vão ser muito importantes para realmente nós dizermos o que tiver que ser de plástico, que seja de plástico, o que tiver que ser de papel, que seja de papel, e o que tiver que ser de vidro, que seja de vidro. Mas tudo associado ao seu desempenho ambiental. E era esta a mensagem que eu queria deixar. E obrigado a todos.
Obrigado, Amar, pelo teu contributo e pela mensagem. Hey, Geoffrey?
Yes.
Oh, agora é.
Yes. Yes. So we we've reached almost 1 o'clock when we had intended to finish probably at midday. So it's a huge thank you to everyone who's stayed the course, and I think I can report that we almost reached at 50 participants, which was excellent. And so a huge thank you to every one of you who's participated, and I hope you found it as informative and useful as myself. And a particular thank you to all of the speakers this morning for their very excellent presentations addressing the point. We moved from we've moved through a whole variety of topics, which only underlines the multidisciplinary nature of any solution that's required. And we would, at CircularSeas, would welcome any contributions to how we could take this forward in terms of particular business case. And there will be a third workshop later in the year. And I would remind you, I haven't seen it noticed very clearly, is that the CircularSeas project has a website, CircularSeas.com. Important to write it all as one word, because there are many variations on a similar theme, but this particular project has a website, www.circularseas.com, and it provides methods for communicating and contacting us if you have some proposals and how we can take some of these ideas forward. So thank you very much, and I wish you a good rest of the day, and I hope you have time to fit in a suitable lunch after a hard morning's work thinking about CircularSeas and ocean plastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Inácio, abraço.
Deus, um abraço. E
Deus, bom
obrigado.
trabalho a todos.
Obrigado a todos.
Bom trabalho.
Deus, bom dia.